I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Friday, February the 7th, brought to you in part by Toromox by Norbrook. Toromox is the affordable alternative to Cydectin. I was visiting with Dr. Eric Moore in San Antonio on Thursday, and he was telling me about how Toromox is dung beetle friendly, and he was getting very integral about telling me all about the dung beetle while we were having lunch. And if you guys know Dr. Moore, that would not surprise you at all. But Toromox is dung beetle friendly, meaning and a lot of the other wormers completely eradicate the dung beetle. Well, the dung beetle is good for breaking down manure, and it helps with getting that spread out quicker so that it doesn't damage the grass, and it actually helps the grass. And so that's a pretty important thing there if you're thinking about your manure and how it helps to fertilize your grass, and breaking that down quicker and getting it spread out is an important thing. But for more information on Toromox, go to norbrook.com. Also, Unionville Livestock Market and Creston Livestock Market in north central Missouri and south central Iowa there. The next special coming up at Unionville will be Tuesday, February the 18th. Now, they just had a big special all vaccinated calf and yearling sale there at Creston Livestock, and it was very successful. A lot of big sales in there, a lot of impressive quotes come out of Creston. They just had that on Wednesday, but they are having a all classes sale here on Friday. Be several weigh-ups in the deal. And then their next big special all vaccinated and yearling calf sale is going to be Wednesday, February the 19th. So check out both of those sales on DVAuction.com, both Unionville, Missouri and Creston, Iowa. The bears are no longer hibernating, and I know it's still winter time, and the bears typically hibernate during the winter. Now, these bears that we're seeing now, they've been hibernated for a couple of years, really. This market's just been on the most impressive rally that we've ever seen in the history of the world, just completely overshadowing the one just over 10 years ago in 2014. But I tell you what, this market is just looking for anything to go down, to be weaker now. And they really don't have to have a reason. Your board is totally dominated on the long side with funds. They can do whatever they want to, and they like to make the market move. They've been jacking with it all this past week here, and down $5, up $2 or $3, down $2 or $3, down $5, just moving all over. But if you're watching it, we're losing ground, significant ground. And I think it's going to continue that way. I hope it doesn't just drop off the edge of the cliff here. But if we can get some bounces in here, and that little bounce that we had on Wednesday sure didn't last long, because first thing in the morning on Thursday, they had to board down hard. Now, we keep looking for reasons, and like I say, I don't think there has to be a reason, but it wasn't the tariffs. We established that. It wasn't the border. Because that really hasn't had anything change in it, but it'd be down big and up big and back and forth. But they've attempted to get the border open this week. On Wednesday, they attempted to cross some there in Santa Teresa, which is the largest border crossing. They had planned on crossing around 400 head, and I'm not sure that it was important, but it was all Corrientes. It was none of the better quality cattle, but they had about 400 head that they attempted to cross. They actually only ended up crossing around 150, give or take a few, and the inspectors were just getting so particular about everything. And all of those cattle that come across, they have to have the big electronic ID ear tag in them, on top of having the Mexican brand on their hip, the M brand. But coming across there, they were getting so particular on them, and they were looking in, even if where they put those big ear tags in, even if they had some redness or swelling there, they were kicking them back across the border. And so, you know, some of the guys I've talked to that are more in the know, they said that this border closing that's been going on here for a little over 2 months didn't ever have anything to do with screwworms. I mean, the screwworms were way down there in Central America. You know, it was nothing really that close up on the north where they crossed the cattle, and a simple, you know, worming shot will fix that. And they quarantine them long enough for that to work, but before they cross. So, you know, I'm not sure if that was a good excuse, but I think if these guys are right, the whole border crossing deal had more to do with corn than it did cattle. As most of you know, Mexico has long had a ban against genetically engineered corn. That's what we raise here. You know, all these fancy seed corn. They come up with these varieties, all these companies come up with varieties, and for the most part, commercially, all of our corn is genetically modified. That's how we can continue to make more bushels to the acre every year. And that's hopefully why the world will not starve. But I'm not sure what their reasoning was for not wanting that corn, but Mexico has long had a ban on that. Well, on Thursday, Mexico lifted that ban, and I think they've even scheduled to have some corn imported from America, from USA, that is genetically modified. So I would think that probably now all the big hullabaloo about the border and the screwworm and the inspectors being so particular, I think that will probably heal up pretty fast now. And so we'll watch this going forward. But you know, I don't think the border really ever had anything to do with our cattle market missing. It's just time, and the powers that be are the managed funds that completely control your CME cattle futures. And when they decided that it's enough and they want to take it lower, then they will take it lower. When we see them jump on the downside big, that's when we know we're done, because, you know, as an industry, we're always on the short side, you know, for hedging. So we put so much pressure on ourselves, on our own market, that if we get anybody else going along for the ride, and it is a heck of a lot easier to make that board go down than it is up. And like I was talking with some people in San Antonio this week, the retreat of the market will be much faster than the climb. And whenever it does happen, and it's happened, we're still seeing, I mean, don't get me wrong, the market's fantastic, and we're still selling cattle really high, and most producers, if they're bringing their cattle in, they're the highest selling cattle that they've ever sold, even if they sold them late this week. But it's falling significantly. But this time we could blame it, or I guess on Thursday we could blame it on another bird flu scare. They found a different strain of bird flu in dairy cattle in Nevada. I don't know. There's still not any risk to the general public for the bird flu, but you know, it's funny. You know, the bird flu has decimated our chicken crop, and you know, you hear stories about them pushing dead chickens around with payloaders, and you know, there's no. It hasn't really hurt them. Of course, it's all a corporate deal. It's all a contract deal. If you've got chickens there, and your eggs get higher every day because there's fewer chickens. But, you know, we get a sick cow or two in a dairy somewhere, and they get over it if you treat them, and everybody gets excited about the bird flu. But that's just the way it is. We did hear some positive news about possibly getting country of origin labeling put through. It sounds like Senator Thune from South Dakota, who is the majority leader there, he wants to have cool done. It's going to be a while, even if they can get it passed. They have to come up with a bill first. They have to reenact it, get it passed, and then wait at least a year, and it looks like a year and a half before they would enact it. And they've got to figure out some way to get that put back in and get around the World Trade Organization rules. So it's not an easy deal. I've told you a long time it's a hard deal to get done. but I guess they are going to start working on that. But that's a good thing. We need truth in labeling. I don't know that we have to have cool the way it was back before 2015, whenever they took it away, because that it really slowed production down. In that every time you wanted to stop processing U.S. cattle and jump over and maybe do a Canadian cow or some Mexican cattle, you had to shut everything down and totally disinfect the whole place. So they need to figure out ways to do it that we can just get some kind of signal on our meat that yes, it's from the United States, or maybe it's not. And then we can go and those of us that's important to, we can buy the U.S. product. And I think we definitely need truth in labeling. However we get that done, I don't know it's that important how we get it done. We just need to get it done. Let's talk about your board. On Thursday, February live cattle futures were down $297 at $200.62. April was down $452 at $196.77. Your back months on live cattle down big also, from $230 lower to $407 lower. Ouch. Feeder cattle for March down $542. You think we're not taking it back, guys? They are taking it back. The bears are out. $265.30 on the close for March feeder cattle. April down $547 at $265 smooth. Your back months on feeder cattle down $327 to down $510. Now, I tell you guys, you need to get protected. And Livestock Risk Services, they are your LRP specialists. They can help get you guys protected. And I was looking, you can still find some protection at a price near $265 for yearlings coming off grass. And you say, well, I haven't got those put together yet. Well, that would give you a starting point. That $265 might sound pretty good coming off grass there. And so that could be a trapeze you put out for yourself to at least keep you from breaking your neck if you're trying to put grass cattle together. But if you're interested in something like that, get a hold of them at livestockriskservices.com. Let's talk about your fat cattle market. We did have a little bit more trade break loose, and then the market is established in your direct trade areas there. It is lower for the most part. We did see some cattle sell on the Fed Cattle Exchange that would be higher in the Southern Plains, but it was on a grid-based price, but still they sold pretty well. Iowa sold 9,400 head on Thursday, 13,400 for the week. Had live prices on Thursday from 205 to 208. And it was mostly 208, and that's mostly $2 lower. Dress sales in Iowa mostly 328 with a few up to 333, and that's mostly $2 lower also. Nebraska sold 11,500 head. They sold nearly 20,000 up to this point through the week in Nebraska. Probably have some more trade here on Friday. Live sales in Nebraska at 208. Dress sales 325 to 328.50. Kansas sold 7,100 on Thursday. They sold 10,200 for the week, and that's about all they ever do, so we don't expect to see any more trade there. Live prices in Kansas 205 to 206. Now, like I said, we did see the Fed Cattle Exchange through competitive bidding did sell some cattle, bid the grid, so that'll be the base price for the grid, up to 209. Texas sold 2,000 there on Thursday, just 2,400 for the week. Prices in Texas were 205 to 206. We saw some grid-based selling on the Fed Cattle Exchange in Texas on Thursday morning at 208.5. So my thing is, I think you have to have competitive bidding to get higher prices. Now, if you guys have figured out a way to get buyers to give higher prices, if there's nobody behind them and nobody pushing them, I guess you can continue to believe that. But I think it takes competition, guys. How about a fat cattle auction? Kelowna, Iowa, livestock sells 400 head. slaughter cattle. Their conventional fat steers and heifers in Kelowna bring 213 to 232. That was a steady market. Box beef cutout values were mixed on Thursday. Choice cuts were down 136 at 323.98. Selects were up 44 cents at 314.77. Your slaughter through the first 4 days of the week, 476,000 estimated cattle slaughter. That's 8,000 less than this point last week, 21,000 less than this point a year ago. Your packers are continuing to reduce slaughter, trying to get their cutout market and their dressed beef market picked up a little bit. But it's slowing things down, but the carcasses are bigger, so it's just kind of an evening out there. Your actual slaughter information come back for the week ending January 25th. Had your average dressed steer carcass weight at 948 pounds. That's down 6 pounds. But they had endured some cold weather right before they were harvested there, so it took the weight off of them. Talk about what else is going on. Green River posts. These are pressure treated fence posts from Southern Pine. They've got a 25-year warranty against rot. Green River will deliver those posts anywhere to you, and the first 200 miles is free. For more information about Green River posts, go to greenriverpost.com. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market. Your real-time index on DVAuction in the afternoon on Thursday sitting at 277.31. That was down another $1.07, and it is just falling, guys. And now we've had, it's a 7-day moving average, and we've been lower for more than 7 days now here, so it's going to get progressively faster on the drop if we don't see your cash feeders start selling higher. And like I said earlier, they're still selling very handsomely around. They're just lower, and we're seeing how high we were now as we drop. But your latest CME cash feeder cattle index is at 277.64, so it's falling too. Big sale here today on Friday at Nevada Livestock Marketing in Fallon, Nevada. I'm not going to be out there with them, but one of my cohorts is going to be out. DVAuction is going to be taking bids there. They've got 3,500, and they're long-weaned, high-altitude desert calves. Now, you can't get no better than that. The quality is outstanding. They've been weaned forever. They're hard as rocks. Most of the offering is going to be weighing 400, 500, and 600 pounds, just right to turn out if you're looking for some cattle to get ready for grass. But check them out, Fallon, Nevada. They're going to be starting a little bit earlier than typical, starting at 9 o'clock on some odd and end cattle there, moving up to the bigger drafts. But that's Pacific time, so that's a little later out here in the central part of the country if you're interested in getting on. But get on DVAuction.com and check out Nevada Livestock Marketing Special Feeder Cattle Sale. Like I said, around 3,500 on offer. Let's talk about your big sales on Thursday. Winter Livestock in Pratt, Kansas sold 2,800 head. The market it was not as much lower as some we've seen, but they did call most of your weight groups that were well tested steady to $4 lower. Still some impressive quotes. How about 57 steers weighed 864 at 276.50. Mitchell Livestock Marketing in Mitchell, South Dakota had 3,800. Good size sale there. Their market was lower too. It's lower everywhere, guys. Most feeders selling $1 to $6 lower. But that's impressive quotes there, and this was really good. How about 89 steers weighed 797, or just right at 800 pounds there, guys, at 286.75. Napoleon Livestock in Napoleon, North Dakota sells 65 steers weighed 606 at 347.50. That's pretty handsome. I don't care what you say. How about Lamona, Iowa? Lamona Livestock there sells 64 steers weighed 870, getting pretty heavy there at 273. I saw where Beaverhead Livestock Auction in Montana sold 95 heifers, and I assume for replacement. 95 heifers weighed 672 and bring 297. But the most impressive quote that I saw anywhere on Thursday in your Macrocin, no BS, top quote for the day, come out of Presho, South Dakota. Presho Livestock sells 80 steers, weighs 776 at $298. And that's your feeder flash for Friday.